we all had that dilemma. You know, three guys in particular, you know, we stayed that summer of '67. Well, they were all going to wait on a draft. I said, I'm tired of waiting. You know, I'm going. One of my best friends that got out of school, he was a year behind me, and I talked him into joining. We went to boot camp. Actually, we started boot camp on his birthday, October 25th, 1967. And we got out of there in the, we were in Great Lakes Naval Training Command, so it was very cold. We were happy to get out of there in February of '68. I went to A school, and then I came home in May of 1967, and Claudia and I got married. And then we went back for about 68, I'm sorry. May of '68, we got married and went back to California kind of for our honeymoon, and I was in military training, combat training, to go to Vietnam for about 6 weeks. In boot camp, you know, we get in and the company commander says, how many of you guys got draft cards? And he says, get them out. So he says, okay. He says, get a fire bucket. And we all burned our draft cards in boot camp. Don't need them anymore. He says, you don't need those anymore. July 4th, 1968 is when I left for Vietnam. And the excitement of going is certainly there. All the fear and expectations you have, but the loss of companionship of your wife and friend, it doesn't hit you right away. And then after you're there, things happen real fast. For the most part, it's pretty busy, but the idle time is really when you think about home and the other things. You certainly think a lot about getting home. It's hard to write home, but you want mail from home. I think it was a little worse going back the second time. When I went to where I was, I knew where I was going. I volunteered for what I got, and by doing that, I knew I would go to Vietnam. And actually, after that, and I volunteered to go to Vietnam. All you got to do is say, I want Mobile Construction Battalion duty, and you were going to Vietnam. I also knew that my primary would not be totally combat, you know, hearts and minds. My primary job was to build things in support of that, or the civilian population too. Built a school in 1969 in Da Nang. Our job as Seabees was to build, and then if necessary to defend whatever was in front of us. Right across the road pretty much, even though we had to go north to get there a little bit, was the 1st Marine Air Wing. So then we go in there and huge, you know, 2 companies or more, we set up a building to build them strongback Hooches, like I was the Sea Huts. And not only that at that time they just had gotten the new Sea Stallion helicopters, the Marine Corps. So we're building huge revetments for them to protect them from mortars and rockets. So, and that was a job that lasted quite a while. And we built Butler buildings for maintenance sheds for them to do their aircraft work. So we were in one place. So you go over there at 5 o'clock in the morning and you work all day, and you come home and you go to bed and you do the same thing. Once again, you know, we didn't get too many rockets in Da Nang, but we got mortars. So you still have a harassing fire every night. We would build 3-legged observation towers in Da Nang, and then we'd hook them on a sky crane, a huge helicopter. And then a squad of us would go out to wherever we were going to set it and prepare the site. So we had this job for the Korean Marines. and their base was in a free fire zone, which is not a place you want to go to, and especially that guys like us. But they treated us great. A language barrier, yes, but you don't have to speak to know. So, I mean, you have that commonality with whoever you're with. You know, so we come out and drill the holes and set the tire, and as soon as we can, we go back to Da Nang. You know, they really treated us nice for the couple of days we were there. On Hill 65, when we were there, Claudia and I had little tape recorders, and 3 minutes, I don't know how long the tape, sometimes it felt like it was an hour. You just can't say I love you enough to fill up a tape, and some things you don't talk about and other things, but I hadn't gotten mail for a couple of weeks, stuck on this place out there with a bunch of Marines, and finally they got mail to us, and I got a tape. Well, I didn't have my tape recorder. It was back at base camp. So a little bitty tape, and these Marines, they had a club which was about as wide as the space we're in here, in a hole in the wall, and where they would drink hot beer and play loud music. So the mail came, and that was the only tape recorder I could find. I said, hey guys, I got a tape from home. Can I use your tape recorder? You know, oh yeah, man, no problem. So I said, well, where's the earphones? He says, no earphones, Squid. So I said, okay, here we go, set them up. And you know, we put the tape on the big tape recorder, and they're all, and it was probably more private than what should have been, but all the guys there got a little home out of the tape. So going back to the things you share and what you get from home, well, you know, that was shared too. I'm sure there's some Marines that can remember that day. So one time that I had the whole company, my sister and her girlfriends, they were playing softball at the time, so they made a tape of them playing softball. I mean, they just acted out a movie. So, and they sent it to me. It was an 8mm roll, 400 foot of these, well, at that time, young women. So I watched it, and it was funny. So I got all the company together, and we're in a hooch in one of these 16 by 32 rooms, and there's about 50 guys in there, and got their popcorn and everything. So, and I run this movie, and at the same time, I ran a tape recorder, my little tape recorder, and there were a lot of comments, some off color and whatever. So whenever I did that, then I sent it back home to my sister. I said, now you got to play the tape with it, and that was a good night. We had fun. The one thing I learned from the first time to the second time is not to keep a short timer's calendar, which what a lot of guys would do is count the days down till you went back to the world, and yeah, I did for a little while the second time, and the day, it just seems like the day will never come, so you don't worry about that. And then when we came home as a group on the same plane. Guys came in and relieved us, and we came home, 280 some of us at a time, and actually we landed on a military base both times, Point Magoo Naval Air Station. So the first time I came home, Claudia and my sister were there to meet me, and of course the band's there, and unlike a lot of other guys coming home, mine was with people that loved you.